for A-level in the struggle to pick subjects. I decided I didn't want to do straight languages, but want to do something a bit different. Was almost put off because someone said it's really difficult to do history and Spanish because they're just, yeah, but I decided I'd just go for it.
I was studying German at school at the time and it seemed a shame to drop a language.
Every time I thought about doing one by itself, I felt I'd missed the other, so I thought, well, might as well do both, and it's actually worked out pretty well.
It's a great course if you kind of have the initiative to take it where you want to take it and study what you want to study, and there's a lot of opportunity to do that, which is quite exciting.
I think what distinguishes the Oxford brand, if you like, is the sheer breadth of choice that a student of history would have.
I have like a preference for modern history and modern literature. So in that sense, you kind of pick up, like I did an American paper from 1863, and so you kind of know about their colonialism a little bit when I did my Latin American paper for Spanish. So they do work together, but equally I could have done a Cold War paper and a Golden Age Spanish paper.
It's challenging doing both history and German because you're doing a set of different assignments for each per week. I
love Spanish for the language, not necessarily the literature, and I hadn't done English literature. So I found that, like, plunging into writing literature essays quite a shock. But then I also realised there's like a skill to it and you pick it up.
You've got a broader base from which to, once you finish your degree, you think I'm going to have 2 subjects in the bag effectively.
But for history and Spanish, you do a bridge essay. So you pick, it's essentially a thesis, and you just have to demonstrate how the disciplines intertwine. And you have full scope to pick anything for that, from 1300s up to now.
There are a few chances to bring history and German together. The first is this interdisciplinary essay, which is about 8,000 words. So it has to be on both German and history. So that's the first opportunity. The second is there are some history papers where the material is in German, the source material. There's 2 papers, one in the first year and one in the 4th year, the special subject and I think the further subject in the first year.
You get a year abroad, which is great fun and amazing, like an amazing opportunity.
So I applied to one of the universities in Berlin, in the centre.
A lot of people do volunteering, especially with Spanish. They'll go out to South America, or even French. I know a few people who've been to Africa and done some volunteering.
The college library is so great, it's a lifesaver for me.
The Bodleian is obviously the best resource. But the languages especially, I mean the Bodleian has obviously everything in English, so the language library is very good for having the foreign language stuff because a lot of the critical work is in your language.
The Language Centre offers hundreds of possible languages.
I really value the tutorial system.
The most challenging thing at the beginning is that you have to work one-on-one with the kind of expert in the field, and that can be quite daunting.
It's the proximity that's of tutor and student which really breeds a great deal of trust.
I've had quite a few one-on-one tutorials, 2-on-1, and you quite literally get to sit there and question one of the experts in your subject.
You enjoy trying to respond, think on your feet and organise your thoughts in the correct way.
Even if they correct you and tell you you're a bit wrong and you haven't got it quite right, that's good because you're not going to do the same thing again.
You really get sparking with students and exploring their thoughts and their ideas, introducing them to things they've not thought about before, seeing how they respond to that. Seeing what their fresh perspectives are, which can often make me think differently about subjects that I think I know well.
There's lots of help given here by the tutors, by other older students, and there's always someone you can ask about things and people are always happy to help. So although it is hard work, you can do it.
You really do feel properly part of an intellectual community of human beings.
It was my first choice on my UCAS form, but I think I was a bit tentative about coming here at the beginning because no one from my school really comes to Oxford, and it has a certain image maybe when you apply.
I found my interviews obviously very daunting when I got here, but they were actually lovely.
They do give you some challenging questions to answer, but actually I almost found it like fun in a weird way, like interesting, because it was just a discussion, but about like academic things that I was interested in.
I would say if you're going to come out with an opinion, just stick by your opinion, because when they're questioning it, they don't think you're wrong. They're just trying to just understand why you're defending your argument.
We think that the interview is a wonderful opportunity for both the tutor and indeed the student to see how well the student will settle in to the Oxford tutorial system.
I think my main impression of the interview process was that you just need to enjoy talking about the things which you're interested in. That's the most important thing. And then it's actually not such a tough process, it can be enjoyable.
I think when students are applying for modern languages, they can sometimes feel quite anxious that they already need to have a lot of experience of travelling into the countries where that language is spoken, to doing work experience, to have read a lot of literature, and they really don't. We know the sort of level that you're likely to be at with your language ability, so we're looking for the fact that your grammatical bases are secure and that you're willing to have a go, so you don't feel that you have to give the shortest answer possible to avoid making mistakes.
Take opportunities where available for expanding your interests beyond your coursework. It might be sort of reading a relevant work, it might be visiting a particular site, it might be taking advantage of the wonderful materials that are now universally available online.
I thought it was going to be a History Boys moment where you get the letter under the door, but they now send it by email, and it's now almost an anticlimax, because if you get in, you get an attachment saying like term dates and everything. So as soon as I got an email and I saw the attachment, I thought, oh, that would be cruel if they told me when it starts, but I'm not coming. I'm thinking of doing foreign service or journalism. I'm going to get some experience in journalism first, just to see, because obviously it's hard to work your way up. And applying, a lot of people apply for grad schemes and there's a lot of internship fairs.
I'm thinking about doing a conversion course, law conversion course.
I didn't really see it as like a means to an end, as a means to a job, which I think is quite nice, because then at the end you get out and you see what options are available for you.
It's easy to see why employers do look on Oxford students as students full of young men and women, full of initiative, independence, and raw energy.
It's really important just to go for it, because you've got nothing to lose. And I mean, it's just such a great place to study. It's such a beautiful town. It's such a prestigious uni, but without being scary at all. I mean, I was expecting it to be a lot more scary than it was.